Looking at Group H of the Champions League, this is Tottenham's group that they have topped, and they did it in style, beating Apoel 3-0 today. Real Madrid also were in this group. We thought that they would be flying, but they have to settle for second spot. They went through beating Dortmund 3-2 today. Dortmund, I guess we could call them the story of this group as well. Shocking. They go into the Europa League.
Just.
That's
just,
true.
just
Very just.
Sneaking past Apoel, but Tottenham have had an excellent Champions League after a strong start to the season domestically. Then they sort of tail off and they're way off the chasing pack now. But in terms of the Champions League, to top the group with Real Madrid, even though Real Madrid haven't a great start to the season, they should still be stronger than Spurs. So to be competitive as they've been is absolutely great news for their fans. And let's be honest, their manager needs it as well, because he's been lauded by a lot of people, but he's yet to really deliver anything other than some good performances. But we talked about it after yesterday's match day 6, and finishing top of the group for them could be a real bane, because when this draw happens, whenever it is, in a couple of weeks' time, it could be, or whenever it is, it could be a horrendous draw for Spurs having won the group. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But I mean,
play your way into a wall.
You could get a Juventus, they could get Barcelona, they could get Bayern Munich. The list goes on. Can't play anybody from their own country at this stage, but could get one of the other real big European boys.
I mean, it's not going to be nice. Potentially it could be terrible for Spurs, but I still think you prefer to finish top of the group than finish second. I think when you're a team like Real Madrid, it doesn't matter, or it doesn't bother you as much, especially when you saw what they did last year and finishing second to Dortmund, of all people. And you're right to say this is the story. Here's a Dortmund team who topped the group 12 months ago, and now 2 points in the groups of the Champions League. This Dortmund side, Peter Bosz is lucky to still be in a job at this point. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but they need change, because this is as poor a Dortmund performance domestically and in Europe than we've seen for some time. We've come to expect more from them.
Stevie, who do you want to weigh off on, Spurs or Dortmund?
Spurs. I think if you're Pochettino, you sell this as, look, we've won our group in the Champions League. That's all we can do. And regardless of who we get, nobody wants to play us. That's the way he has to sell it to his players, that nobody wants to play them. Not, oh, we don't want this team, or we don't want that team. You've got to be positive. One
of the problems he's got, it's not a problem. One of the issues, I think, in his rhetoric, when the League Cup and all that was on, and he says, he was quoted, I believe, as saying, we're not really interested in winning these, the FA Cup. But he called the FA Cup a minnows competition. We're not really, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. Whatever rhetoric he used was basically saying the Premier League and the Champions League is where we are. Well, we know they're not going to win the Premier League, right? And I'm almost certain they're not going to win the Champions League, although they've topped the group. So it's his rhetoric in saying, I'm being dismissive of the other competitions because we're aiming for higher. But just how high can they actually go?
I guess that remains to be the question. Gab, what about you? What do you make of how this group turned out?
Well, I love the fact that Pochettino's aiming high, and then, if he comes up short, then people can criticize him. But he's right. Previous Spurs managers have won the League Cup and the FA Cup and some such nonsense, and it didn't do them a whole lot of good. So I think he's being consistent there. As for Peter Bosz, look, I've been critical about him all season long, but I have to concede, he has made history. Never before in the history of the Champions League has a team qualified for the Europa League with 2 points. So bravo, Peter Bosz, you've done it.
So is that enough to save his job, Gab?
Minimalist.
So he's a trendsetter.
He's breaking his own record.
I mean, when he goes in front of the Borussia Dortmund board, he can go up there and he can lay that out and say, here's the reason I should be in this job for next year. Because nobody's ever taken us into Europa League with 2 points. What a great argument.